Hello, welcome to the Between Tides podcast. Me and Jared are joined today with our friend Rob DiPietro, or DiPietro, however you
Yeah.
want to pronounce it. Rob is a website designer. He's a graphic designer. He used to design tattoos. He never did a tattoo, but he used to design them. He's really interesting. He's really great. We're excited to get started. When I graduated college, it was May of 2020. Um,
Oh, you're young.
well, I guess. And like it was obviously during the pandemic. So nobody was really hiring, but
Yeah.
according to Indeed, I applied to over 200 jobs just in
Mm.
June.
Wow.
And one of those jobs was for a substitute teacher, which I don't have a teaching degree. I've never substitute taught anything, but I was like, you know what? Now's the time. I need some money.
Like, why not?
Right. So I got an interview
They
and
interviewed you with no teaching degree?
yeah, because it
Oh
was
my
just a substitute. You don't really need a degree or anything,
Is that true?
apparently.
All right.
So, I go into the interview, it's on Zoom, and they were like, "So, we just want you to know you wouldn't be substituting for like normal classes. A lot of the classes that you would get are like kids with behavioral issues or emotional issues." And I'm really hankering for a job. So I was like, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I love kids with behavioral issues, which I don't. And in fact, I volunteer with the MYO, which is like our church organization. And
Mhm.
when we go on retreats and there's a kid who's like losing his mind and just having a horrible time and throwing chairs, they send me in to calm them down. That's not true at all. That's not true. That's never
Wait,
happened.
that's what you said during the
That's what I
interview?
told them. I was
Oh my
like,
goodness.
I'm
You're a
great with
creative liar.
liar.
That's great.
So the interview, well, okay, after I said that, they all looked at each other like this is the one.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, "Okay, we're just gonna talk and then we'll call you back." 5 minutes later, they call me back and they're like, "We think you'd be great for the job." And I was like, "Oh, great. No longer unemployed." So I call Mark, my now husband, and he's like, "Do you know what you're doing? Like, they don't even respect my mom. His mom is a teacher. They're not gonna give you any respect. You need to call him back and tell him you're not taking that job." And I was like, "You don't tell me what to do. I'm a lady. I can handle it." I'm not a lady. I can't handle it. I ended up they ended up needing to wait to actually hire me, and thank God in that time, I ended up getting an interview and starting to work at Portage, so I was able to be like, "Hey, guys, sorry, I can't work here anymore." But it was a close
So there's
call.
a chance that your total career
Yeah, life
would
trajectory could have
would
been
be
totally
totally
different.
different right
Not even
now?
my career, there's a chance there would have been a pair of scissors in my neck within, like, a year.
Ah, I see,
Could have
I
been
see.
bad.
So creative response may or may not help or hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't even know, well, I guess I do know why I said it, but, like, I didn't want that job that badly.
Right. But it's the pressure to have the right response.
The right response and also just not be unemployed anymore, I
Yeah,
think.
it's
Okay.
nice to make money. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
Yep.
money will drive you to be creative with your line.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And, like, before that, I was doing a lot of freelance,
Mhm.
and I liked it a lot because I liked the freedom that freelancing as a graphic designer gave me, but I hated, like, after a project ended being like, "Okay, I have to basically restart the job application process all over again," or, like, I have to convince people that their logo for their business that they've been using isn't good enough, or, like, their menu actually stinks, and I hated that, so that's what pushed me to start looking for work.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you do any freelance?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always looking for something and I love to do it. I was just speaking of freelance, made me think about like how you handle customers um, when you do freelance. Like, what's your typically like? How do you handle like revisions and recommendations or things that are seem like totally crazy from the like? How many revisions will you do? Like, if you do like some freelance stuff,
Yeah, I like
do
to
you have like
write it.
do you have like a policy around
I
how many
do.
times you'll iterate over a design or a logo?
Yeah, like, I write it in the contract. I think I give 3 free revisions, and then after that, it's like, "I'll do anything you want as many
Yeah,
times as you want, but you're gonna pay
you're gonna
for
pay
it."
for it.
As far as, like, really crappy suggestions, there's only so much you can do. Like, I try to push the clients in the right direction, but after a certain point, it's like, "You want Comic Sans and a rainbow gradient. You're paying for it. I have
Yeah.
to give it to you."
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, what about you? Like, what do you do?
So, been involved with like design since I was young. Like, all I remember in high school is I wanted to be all I did in high school was not care about my grades, was draw,
Me too.
chase girls, and play sports. Like that's all I want to do.
These are
So
good
like,
things.
and yeah, like in class, all I did was draw. Um,
I didn't know that you like to draw so much.
oh yeah, I've been drawing since I was a kid. And, even like I thought like drawing or something in the like in design was like my future. So like in high school, I was like, I want to be a tattoo artist.
You're just honing your craft
Yeah,
in
like I
class.
want to
Yeah.
like I want to be a tattoo artist. Like I thought like that's my thing. I was like, I love tattoos, as you can tell.
Did you design those ones?
Yeah. So part of these were some of my design.
Wow.
Some of them are like sometimes like when especially like a good tattoo artist though, you kind of like let them do their thing.
Mhm.
Some of them are really, really good. Some of the tattoo artists that Casey from like Studio 42, shout out to her. Like they're really good. You want to let them use their craft. So some of them are other designs as well. But like I like tattooing is it. So like when I was after high school, I was like, I'm gonna be a tattoo artist. So I went and actually got a job down there at my favorite
Did you?
tattoo shop. Yeah, yeah,
All
as
right.
Wow.
an apprentice for
That's
tattooing.
huge.
Uh-huh.
So like I was there for like 6 months drawing up tattoos. I never got to the spot where I actually put them on people's skin. It was more just kind of like, hey, we got this idea. I want you to draw this up so the artist can do it. But then like after like 6 months or so, it was like because they're the at that time like the prime time is like at night, right? You're there from like 4 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning, and like
Wow.
after a few months, you're like, I don't know if this is
It was more
th-
like the lifestyle and
yeah, it
pace
was
of
like
it
the
just
lifestyle. Like
didn't.
this isn't for me. Like, so I'm gonna. I love design and creativity, but I'm gonna try to find something else.
Yeah.
So do you know, is anyone walking around with any of your
Oh
designs?
yeah, 100%.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I have no
Nice.
idea where they're at now. I'm sure they've covered them up by now.
Okay.
No
They're like
way.
that design sucked. Let me have somebody else do it. But
Uh,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
How did you go
nice.
from illustration to web design? Because
Oh, because I got into I went to school after for graphic design, and when I went to school, the schools are expensive. Like, and I didn't have any money. Parents didn't have any money. They're like, it ain't, it just didn't happen. So I enrolled in there. I went to like um, design school for like a year, and then kind of dropped out and kind of try to find something. Um, and I always did like freelance stuff, friends, family, businesses, um, churches, whatever I can do, logos, whatever can be done. I think I knew I want to do design. And as I got a little bit older, like my early 20s, I was like, I was more in like an IT work,
Mhm.
but designing was like always my thing. It's like I knew I got to do something. Um, I want to get more involved with computer programming. Um, Coding development, and um, and when I was in school for computer science, when I went back to school in my early 20s or mid 20s, I was like, how can I incorporate like designing and computer science? Like, how can I incorporate coding? Now, even when you're coding, even if you have no like design, like you're a great illustrator or anything like that, there is some creativity in coding, right? You're thinking of like creative ways to design an algorithm or a program or some sort of software. So there is creativity behind it, but like there was more. It was like I needed like some front end UI. Like I wanted to see my creativity, not just in the algorithm, but actually see it itself.
Is that what interested you in, I guess, like technology to begin with? Because I feel like illustration and being a tattoo artist are so different than IT,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and writing
Yeah.
code.
Was IT to pay the bills, or that's where
oh
it started the interest?
no, that's a good question. When I went back to because when I went back to school after IT, it's like I knew I needed to do something. I knew I needed to provide better for my family.
That's so cool.
Right.
I needed to do something that's going to give us a better future. And I was like, computer science is it. Like programming is definitely it. Like I love computers. I was like, I can make a good living from it. So I went back when I went back to school. I wasn't thinking about design, and I had a class. You're going through classes. Computer science, and we had a web design class, and I had the teacher was actually somebody from the profession and who had real life job. And I remember I was assigned a project with a group, and it was creating a website, and it had to do all these things with databases, and it had to incorporate all kinds of stuff. But when I designed the website, the guy was like pretty shocked. He was like, wasn't
Well,
expecting that from like a kid from college, and he was
Wow.
right.
like, this is extremely good.
So what was
Uh,
the website for? Was it
Yeah.
like a
it was just like a design. Like I think we had to create in the class we had to create like a business, like an app or a business that you could sell. So
uh
we created some app that like um saved like you would take a picture of like the clothes in your this is actually a call out to my wife who actually had the idea. I loved it. But basically you would take a picture of like the clothes in your closet, and then it would like categorize in your phone and
Wow.
show you like your inventory in your closet. And then you could actually like take a picture and maybe find other things similar to that on the internet to buy.
Wow.
It's kind of like a way to categorize your closet to see what you wore last week. Like you just like, hey, what did I wear on Monday? And it'll show you what you wore on Monday.
That is
I
cool.
thought it was a pretty cool idea.
All right.
It didn't turn into a $1 million idea because I didn't follow up with it.
Uh,
But
Yeah.
when
Patent
we
pending. No one else take
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So-
don't take it.
Edit this out.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then when I designed it, the guy was pretty shocked. And he basically what kind of like sat me down. He's like, hey, listen, uh, there are not a lot of computer science majors or coders who maybe have a creativity type of eye. There are web designers out there. But they don't actually code as
Mhm.
well. So he was basically saying, like, listen, if you can learn to code, and you can design, like that's an extreme
Something
asset
there.
for some sort of company.
All it took was one person sitting you down.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I guess I could be creative in design
Yeah.
and code at the same time. And then that kind of lit a fire. And then I started creating websites on my own, reaching out to friends and families. I designed Studio 42, where I got these tattoos from. I designed their website. I,
Wow.
reached out to other people and kind of honed my craft. And man, it's been awesome. Working where I work now at Portage, learning like being able to use creativity and be abstract and have fun, but do it in a way that man, does good business as well. It's been
Sure.
an awesome ride. So man, it was cool to like find myself like always loving design, creativity, but then getting lucky enough to get in a career where I can use it every day and be, relative in my job.
Right.
So
And hopefully that guy's not sitting on his own private island because he took your idea. It's
yeah, dude, like I don't know
"Here
what
we
happened
go."
to those kids I graduated with too. They probably stole that idea. They're probably in New York City somewhere.
These clowns.
I know, for real.
Yeah.
It was a great idea. I loved it.
Were you and Laura married at the time?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, yeah. So we like I said, we were like I was just in like normal IT and I was like, yeah, I was like in my mid-20s. I was like, I ain't gonna make it. This ain't for me. And we got, we sacrificed and I quit my job and went to school full time. And we made like, I don't know, $30,000 a year, barely with like a kid,
Oh, wow.
struggled. Like it was a struggle, but like
That's awesome.
yeah, but that sacrifice that we need to take just for those few years has definitely paid off
For sure.
for sure. So
So, what's your favorite projects or like your favorite kinds of projects to work on
uh,
now?
I mean, web design for sure. I mean, geez, oh man, there's so many like different types of web designs out there for like in regards to like colors and iconography and pictures. Like, there's so many unique ways out there to create and design. And like, I love just kind of like, man, there's a lot of people who do it really well.
Can you first define iconography? Is that what you said?
Iconography.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's
is
just
that?
like just using icons, like either like
Oh, I should have figured that one.
yeah. So it would just be like using icons. I mean, there's all kinds of icon libraries out there. There's ways that you can create your own icons. But basically, what that does is just kind of gives like the main look and feel of maybe what your website what would look like. Um,
Mhm.
but uh,
Wait, so icons, logos, kind of all the same?
An
Or that's
icon
totally
is
different?
like a way simpler logo. So, like, if you're on a computer and you see a little envelope, you think, okay, that's the mail. So you click on it. That little mail thing would be the icon.
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do that creatively as well. I forgot where my train of thought was going.
Sorry about that.
You were saying what you like about web design.
Yeah, I just that what I like it because I work for a company and that like allows you to be creative. Like there's no restrictions behind it.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we can like explore and I know you do a great job with your design as
Thanks,
well.
Ron.
Like there's not necessarily any restrictions behind it. Like, hey, let's be as creative as possible.
For
Let's
sure.
make it look darn good, but let's have fun. And I think that comes across like authentically, right? When you look at our products or look at our designs itself, that there's no like there's nothing holding us back with our creativity. I think that's when you get the most creative when there's no like any barriers, right? Yes, when you're designing for somebody, there are going to be barriers or things that you don't want to do depending on what the business is. But man, if that's held to like at a minimal, you can really come up with some creative, cool stuff.
I
Wow.
almost think of it as the opposite sometimes. Like, I feel like when there's no barriers at all, I get like decision paralysis and I have no idea where to
Yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah.
So when there's a limit, it's like, okay, this gives me at least a direction to go in.
Oh
So I
yeah,
kind of like limitations.
yeah, that's true. For sure. I mean, I think that works. Like when you're like especially when you're working with a client. Let's say you want to design like
Ugh,
a logo with a client. I guess you do want. You're like, hey, give me some examples of maybe some logos that you like. What other companies that you think did it well?
mhm,
Do you want this type of arrow? Do you want
Just kind of help frame it out,
Yeah,
right?
help give
right.
me some
Yeah.
framework, because then you can work around it.
Totally.
But after that, let's be creative.
Yeah.
So have you ever gone into that where they give you the framework, you go off, you do your creativity, you bring it back, and they're like, nah.
Oh, I've had clients um, creating logos. We're like, I think I just created 15 different logos for them, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
There's something so painful about reopening a file.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what it
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. Like you're like, I just sent you 15, and they all look, in my expertise, they all look pretty good, but like we're moving a little bit of white space over here. Like, it all depends. I mean, some clients, some of them are like really micromanage the design, and
Like
it's
they treat you like a monkey with a computer.
yeah, I get yeah, yeah, 100%. And some of them, some of them are like, yeah, that looks great. Like, I'll take your expert opinion for it. Like, if you
Mhm.
think that looks good for my company, and that I'll take your opinion. But man, you have some are like just. Can you do that again with this over here? I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's why it's cool, like I was mentioning before, like, that's why, like, you need when you do design, like, you need those upfront expectations, like, "If I do this 15 times, I'm gonna charge you another 150
Mm.
bucks. Like, I can't
Hmm.
keep doing this."
Yeah.
Some
So
healthy boundaries, right?
oh,
Kind of
yeah, the
cover that.
100%, so,
What do you think is the worst client you've ever had?
You don't have
um,
to use their name.
No,
yeah,
you
I
do
don't
have
Or
to.
do. Yeah.
First and last.
no, I think it's just that I've never not had anybody, like, I've never had a client, design wise was like, I can't work with this person anymore. I think when you're young, when you're getting design too, like you realize how easy it is to get taken advantage of
For sure.
um, when you're young. So like I
Yeah.
remember I had, and this is another shout out to Casey from Studio 42, and 'cause she was in the arts for a long time. I remember her telling me a long time ago, like, listen, don't let don't let clients take advantage of you. It was like
Yeah.
set those expectations and groundwork ahead of time, so they know the expectations going forward. Like, as you mentioned, like, you get 3 iterations on this logo, and that's it. If you want more, that's fine, but it's gonna be 25 to 50 extra bucks or 100, depending on what you wanna do. But, like, set those expectations going forward. Don't
Hmm.
let them control you,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
Because then, like, you love designing, but then it's kinda like, this really
It
kinda
takes the joy out of
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
yeah, the joys get sucked out of it.
So when you get stuck more in the business side of it rather than the creativity side, is that where it
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
kind of
yeah,
drains you?
it drains you. You're like, "I only charge this person 100 bucks for this logo, and I've spent 15 hours on this. I need" like, I
Yeah.
need to come up with a better strategy.
Right.
Hmm.
And I think it's funny too, and you probably come up with this, like, and if you look in the internet or look at other artists and suggestions, like, there's no, like, I find this the hardest about design is, like, how much do I charge for something?
Oh my gosh.
That's
Right.
gotta be the hardest, because you're like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna say it's $500 for this logo. I don't wanna say it's 1,000, or I don't wanna say it's 150 and I spent 15 hours on it.
Uh
Like,
huh.
that's the hardest part, is,
For
like,
Sure.
sure.
finding um, that groundwork.
I read this book that really helped me with pricing. I can't remember the name of it. So the book that I was reading talks exactly about pricing like your freelance work, and he was like, if you look it up online, you're going to find a lot of really good advice and a lot of really good numbers,
Yeah,
but you don't know how many years of experience they have.
right.
You don't know how much time they put into their logos. So he gives you a formula of like how much time you generally spend on like a logo, for example, how much you think you're worth per
Yep,
hour, and then you just multiply those and that's your final number. Um, and I guess you can like add more or less depending on how much you actually want to do this kind of stuff.
right.
Like I charge around $500 for a logo,
Mhm.
but there was a time where I was like, if I do one more logo, I'm swan diving out of the window. I don't want to even look at another logo. So I started charging 600 because I was like, I'll do it, but I don't
But
want to do
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Nobody bought one for
I was
$600.
gonna ask, have you ever, like, felt like you priced yourself out of one? I
Um,
assume.
yes and no. Like I definitely did, but it was an intentional thing because like I
Yeah.
didn't want to be doing them anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But right now, like, thank God I have a good job, like with Portage and everything. So I'm able to like do logos if I really want to for free or like for crazy discounted because
Yeah,
it's something that I want to
you
do.
enjoy.
I'm always curious, like the person who did the Nike logo,
Oh,
like
Great, yeah,
50 bucks. He was
that's
like,
also a great story.
"Gotcha." Oh, I have no idea.
tell the tale. You tell the
Do you
tale.
know it?
I do, but I don't remember a lot of the
Well,
details.
I know that the person who designed it was an intern. So, from my understanding, and well, this is on the internet already, so I have no idea. I'm sure there's better, but I believe it was an intern who was assigned the task, and her design was picked, and then like she left the company. Like no,
Like no
like
royalties. Like
no
no.
royalties at that point, no nothing. Like you just designed like one of the most iconic logos of all time, and you weren't even really an employee for the company. But I think Nike did do right by the person. I think
Really?
they went back and
Yeah, it's very short.
they gave her like uh all of the royalties and
Like
gave
$1,000 for that
no, it
logo,
was a lot.
In
or
Nike
500 or
credit.
600. There you go.
I think they hooked her up properly.
Okay.
That's so
Yeah,
cool. I
Okay.
love hearing
yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So it was, that stuff does happen all the time. And most companies, obviously it was Nike and like, if you design the most iconic, one of the most iconic logos in the world, they're going to do it right. And they did.
Good.
That's so good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can we go back a minute?
Yeah.
If you get a request to make a logo,
Yeah.
can you like walk a listener through like what is your creative process? If you're like they want a logo for this, maybe you don't relate to the business, their product,
Yeah.
like where do you go to?
That's a really good question. Do you want to go or?
You can go first.
Yeah. I mean, if I get like a logo request, like, hey, I saw what you did online. Hey, this business, I heard that you did this. I want to do something. Basically, first it would start with like an interview. Like, hey, what do you guys do? Because obviously, like some logos, right? As you're designing, like some logos don't work well for some industries, right? Like if you're creating a logo or a design for like a business, a school, uh, an e-commerce platform, like there's specific designs that you want to go with, right? Some certain colors you want to go with,
Totally.
right? Um, and it would be just an interview, like, hey, what do you guys do? What's your business strategy? What do you guys sell? What do or what do you want to sell, depending on what you want to do? And at that point, I get an idea of the business strategy, like, hey, and then tell me other logos that you think work well with your business.
Okay.
Um, Give me some logos of other companies that you like. Just it really helps us get perspective on what the customer's thinking. I don't know if you do the same thing.
I do exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah. So like just to help us get like perspective on what they're looking for. And at that point, like what I would do is I would just sketch it out. So I would typically dude, I would just put pencil to paper, right? And I would just sketch a bunch of different things that I think a lot of times it's gonna a lot of times it's gonna say, if their company starts with a B, and that's kind of what they want to go with is like a B with like a lightning bolt or something like that. Then you're gonna like play games with that logo. Lightning bolt go here. Do you turn that B into a lightning bolt? Do you kind of like how do you make this look um, formal yet creative? Like there's all kind of so then
Mm,
you would basically just I would sketch it out and then I would just go onto my tools, Photoshop tools or illustration or Illustrator or whatever. And then I would just outline those in some blacks or some inks. And I would kind of make sure kind of like the fundamentals look good, the lines look good, it look, even and blah, blah, blah. And then I would probably I would probably provide that client with like maybe 5 different logos that I think look good. And then at that point, we would then mix in some colors, I'm saying
gotcha.
hey, give me your top 2, top 3, give me feedback on these, anything you wanna see differently, and then we would just kind of find, like, a good one where and then we would iterate just a couple more times over it. That's kinda like how
Awesome.
usually I would say it goes. I don't know about anything different for you.
The only thing, I guess, things that I do different is when I'm first talking to the client to like get to know about the
Yeah.
project. I try to stay away from ethereal words because I feel. Sorry, I thought I was wearing two shirts. It's just one.
You sure? I see 2 shirts in there.
Yeah.
Well, there's a short sleeve, but I thought it was another long sleeve.
Oh.
Sorry. Anyways, yeah, I try to stay away from like vague ethereal words because I feel like mysterious could look so different for me versus for the client. Like if they're
Yeah.
like, we have a dark, mysterious look,
Oh,
does that
yeah,
mean
yeah,
purple? Does
yeah,
that
yeah.
mean like black? I don't know. So I try to ask them like, can you send me examples of logos that you really like and tell
Mhm.
me why you like them,
Yep.
and logos that you really hate and tell me why you really hate them? Because I
'Cause
don't.
I don't wanna do that one.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like I don't want to accidentally be designing something that they very much don't like. Usually people don't send examples of what they don't like. They just tell me like I don't like,
Stay away from this.
yeah, like stay away from yellow, stay away from this font.
Yeah.
And then after that, I also sketch in my sketchbook. I don't know about you, but it's so hard for me to come up with ideas in front of a computer. It's like it dries up the stream
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I try to come up with 20 very different, I call them thumbnails, but like just different logo ideas.
Mhm.
Um, I try to do more, but I try to have 20 that I actually really like. And then from there, I pick, like you said, either 3 or 5 that I really like and that jump out at me. Those ones I put into the computer and then in Illustrator or in Adobe Fresco, which I don't know if you've used, but like on the iPad,
Yeah, I'm starting to get into it.
it is awesome because you can like draw in vector form, but it's not as choppy as Illustrator,
Yeah.
like with the pen tool or the brush tool or anything. So I'll take it into one of those depending on how loosey goosey the design is, and then just like make it into a vector. And then I've
What does that mean?
a
Into a
vector.
vector.
Um, so I could show you when we like are at the office in front of a computer, but there's 2 different kinds of like images. There's a raster and there's a vector. A raster is like a photograph that you would take or something that you would draw by hand. So if you zoomed all the way into it, you would see pixels. A vector is the opposite. No matter how far you zoom in, you will never see a pixel. It's like just always super
It's
clean.
a mathematical equation.
Oh.
So the lines never get pixelated. So no matter how far you blow it up or make it small, it's never gonna be pixelated because it's basically a math.
So is that
I
like the
didn't know it was
goal
an
then? Is you
equation.
you
Yeah,
wanna make
it's like a
everything a
math
vector?
formula.
Sorry?
Like, so is that the goal? Like, you want to make everything a vector? Or
It's not easy to make everything a vector, especially something that's crazy detailed, but a logo is ideally a vector because logos
can just
come this
stretch
big
it.
or like
Yeah, 'cause like
gigantic.
if your client wanna put this bad boy on their like on a big
Big.
humongous side of their building, you're like, "That better be that better be a vector." Like, that ain't gonna look good.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Good to
So
know.
that's
Yeah.
the next step. I turn it into a vector. And then I don't know about you and your clients,
Mhm.
but at least the ones that I've had, it's really hard for them to finish the product in their head and like imagine what it could look like. So I try to get it as close to 100% as possible. Like I'll
Yeah.
pick the colors based on what they said. Anything that was unclear, I'll kind of like just make an executive decision. And then I'll send my idea of like the finished version to them and be like, let me know what you think. And if I specifically took like creative liberties on something, I'll call it out and be like, I did this here. I want your opinion.
Yeah.
Like, be as detailed as possible with your response to me. Um, and then I let me know what they think about it.
Yeah, 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 definitely. No, that's awesome. I mean, it's everyone's gonna have like a little bit different, but it's very, very similar. And I think that's kind of like that's what you gotta do, man. Give the client, give the client the best options that you believe, because I mean they hired you for a reason, right? They loved your work or they saw that you did a great job for somebody else, and just give them the best thing possible and just let them work best with them, right? I definitely know of other designers that like always complained about their clients,
I
or
know.
like, can you just
Mm.
do like it? I'm not like that. I mean, you can't. You're not going to enjoy your work. I don't. I've never had anyone that I've ever worked with. They're like, I ain't working with that dude again or that gal again.
Really?
No.
I've had two.
Have you?
Yeah, the one,
Do tell. Come
I
on.
will, I
That's
will.
it.
The one was a lady, and I do feel kind of bad about this because I think she was, I don't know how to say this nicely, so I'm just going to say it. I
Yeah.
think she was actually not very bright.
Yeah.
I've heard the military, I think it was, say like there's there's some percentage, I don't know what it is, but it's higher than you would think. Maybe it's 8%. I don't know. There's some percentage of people that are actually too dumb to learn something. And without being
Mm.
mean or like ugly, I think she fell into this category, which is fine. You're going to meet dumb people in your life. But I would send something to her and she'd be like, this isn't what I asked for. And I'd be like, oh no, no, do you see your email? This is exactly what you asked for. And she'd be like, okay, it's, can you Also, maybe like make 5 other versions of this. And
Mm.
like, I'm not doing a good job of explaining it because this was like 6 or 7 years ago, but she didn't remember the things that she sent. She didn't remember what she asked for. When I sent her things, she'd be like, "I don't want to pay for this. You didn't do a good job." And it's like, number one, I spent 7 hours on this stupid design. I don't care if I did a good job or not. You owe me my time.
See, this email says rainbow and unicorn, and I
Yeah.
have a rainbow and a unicorn on here jumping over a mulberry bush.
I'm not doing a good job at explaining this, but like somebody who just didn't remember what they wanted
Yeah.
and was kind of hard to work with. And then the one
They're
that's
flaky with like.
she just didn't want to pay, I think. And then there was somebody who straight up didn't want to pay. She was like, "Okay, so we really only have a budget for $100 per design." And I was like, "That's fine. We don't need to go into detail or anything. And also, it sounds like you're going to be asking for a lot, so the cheaper the better." And she was like, "But what if like I don't think I should be giving examples because I can't remember them exactly, but she just kept giving hypotheticals where she was asking for simpler and simpler designs just to get me to go down on my price. So she'd be like, "Well, what if one day all I want is like a line? Are you really going to charge me $100 for that?" And I kept having to explain to her, like, number one, you will never just ask me for a line. Number two,
It's a
yeah,
fine
because
line,
it's my
right?
time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not being unfair to you. I'm
No,
not
right,
trying to
right.
cheat you of your money. Just pay what you want. So that's kind of when I had to come up with the policy of like, this is what I charge. If you want to pay less, that's totally fine. You can find somebody else, but this is the quality that you're going to get. I'm not cheating you of your money. Like, if you want to pay that much, great, I'll work with you. Otherwise, you have to find somebody cheaper.
Have you ever got stood up for money before?
I think with that lady, but I didn't even hang on. Wait, let me think.
I have. You know what? It's really, and as like for new designers out there, a recommendation, and because I've done stuff for family and friends or recommendations for family and friends, and I've got taken advantage of a few times. So I would recommend that you always maybe at least get half of it up front
That's what I
because
do.
I've designed websites
I get
for like
pricey.
a family friend and then realized that they ghosted me after I've like designed this website, and then because they realize like either I don't think I need one or I don't have the money to pay you right
Uh-huh.
now. So it's like I just spent 18
Hours.
hours
Right.
on this and I got nothing in return. So even if it's like a family or friend or an acquaintance,
I feel like
at
especially if it's a family or a
yeah,
friend,
because
that
And if
could
you're
ruin your
listening, the
relationship.
bill is due.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, man, I just wasted
Oh.
my time.
For sure.
So other than getting paid, like the flip side of that, have you ever presented something? They're like, nah, I don't know. And then they try to take your logo and use it.
There's a way to prevent that.
Yeah, I tried my
So
yeah.
do you watermark it or do you put your name?
With real quick, with
Yeah,
people that
please.
I've had that fear of, I will take a picture of my face like this or something, slap it over the logo and be like, if you want this logo removed or if you want this picture of me removed, it's going to be the cost of the
Right.
logo. I think I've only had to do that one time ever.
Yeah, I don't think I don't ever provide them like the vector design before I'm ever paid. Like they'll get like screenshots of the
A
design.
crappy JPEG taken from
Yeah,
back here.
it's just like the
Okay, just way
JPEG
to protect
image.
yourself.
Yeah, it's just like the
Okay.
JPEG image where like if you really want, I'm sure they could steal it if they wanted to. Like, but they're gonna give it to another artist
Who's gonna charge them?
charge them to steal it or design it. Like, so they're not really getting there. There's no way that they're, you know. But yeah, I've never given like a vector graphic before I've ever been paid, so that they could reuse it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, have you ever thought about, since it's, we're talking about design, have you thought about the AI aspect of designing and kind of like
It's a great
Mhm.
question. That's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what fears you have or like how you envision this field going?
I'm not really afraid of AI taking over my job because clients generally don't know exactly what they want. They
Mhm.
come to you and it is generally really fluid and gooey, I guess, for lack of a better term. They're like, I want my logo to represent my company, and we're a really fun company. We're happy. We make people feel welcome, things like that. And you kind of have to pull details out of them, like colors, fonts, things like that. With AI, robots don't know what fun looks like. Robots
Right.
don't know what a warm family or a warm feeling really looks like. And that's usually what people give. So, unless a client is able to specifically be like, I want a yellow lemon with this font, with this word exactly, and I want 17 or whatever variations of it, which is so rare for a client to know exactly what they want like that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're really that in danger
Yeah.
yet.
Right.
However, after listening to Elon Musk talk on Joe Rogan, I don't know anymore. So erase what I said.
We're doomed.
What
Yeah.
about you? What do you
Yeah.
think?
So do you think AI enhances or diminishes creativity?
Um, I think it. I don't see how it enhances. I
Did you
don't
say
know.
you don't
I don't
see?
see how it enhances. I could be wrong.
I could see it as doing both. Like if you're not trying to think creatively about a solution and you're going straight to AI, it's going to diminish it because you're not using that creative muscle. But as a jumping off point, I think it can help. But I don't know, it's kind of like how do I say it? It's kind of like if you're lifting weights and you always have somebody doing most of the heavy lifting for you, I
Mhm.
guess. Like, yeah, you're
A slaughter.
slowly going to get better, I guess, but not as much as if you just slowly worked your way up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. I'm just trying to. I haven't had a time in my profession yet that, from a design aspect, that AI has ever been like, I can help you with this better.
For sure.
I don't know. It's just there's something too mechanical about it. Man, like I've seen some cool stuff. Like AI's done some really, really cool stuff, but um, man, I feel like it squelches creativity.
It really
Really?
does.
Okay.
Oh man,
So I'm curious, like with the image generators, if you say like, you know, generate an image of a lake with a boat, by the dock,
yeah,
is that like, do you take that and then you can modify it and so it kind of helps you jump ahead
yeah, that's
or kind
yeah.
of gets the ball rolling?
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I mean that would be a good example. I know because I know even though like Adobe, like Photoshop and stuff like that, they've now had those where you can insert, like you can have like I love this design. I've had this image or this picture, like I do want a boat in the background, and it does pretty darn good job of like
Hmm.
inserting a boat in the background that looks realistic or looks like it goes with the piece.
For sure. I think, okay, it's just like when the camera was invented. I think a lot of painters were like, it's taking our jobs. Like,
Mm.
why are we even working anymore if the camera exists? But it's
Because
just
people
a
don't want to
new
sit
tool.
there for 8 hours doing their
Right.
portrait.
Yeah, like it's not taking anything away from artists, I think. It's more like a tool.
Yeah,
And I guess in the same way that the hammer can either break like a wall in your house or put a namer,
Hammer.
a
Mhm.
nail into a wall. Like it can either really mess something up or it can really help you depending on how you use it.
yeah,
So I don't think it's bad, but I don't know, use it with caution.
yeah. I think you can. I think you can maybe tell too.
You can.
I think it's a good example of like adding, maybe it can help you with, like, flavor, right? When you're designing, it can help with, like, a little bit of a
Mm.
flavor, but, like, I think you can probably tell if you've been in the industry, if you have a good eye for it, that, like, this doesn't look like, this looks fake.
Something I've
Something's
noticed.
Gotcha.
off.
Like you still have to be the chef. It's just
Yeah,
more
100
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah,
the
100%.
seasonings to it.
Something I've noticed is that people really react, I don't want to say violently, but very poorly when they find out something's made with AI.
Oh, yeah.
Like I feel like people feel like they've been betrayed in a way.
I mean, could you
Or just kind
imagine
of cheated
yeah,
out
could
of
you
something.
imagine?
Yeah.
Like, could you
Yeah,
imagine being
people
a
get
client?
really mad.
Like, could you imagine being a client, like, I just paid $1,000 for this logo, and you realize this person spent 25 minutes,
For sure.
on AI?
Well, not even that, but like I feel like I've
Right.
seen it on Instagram a few times where people are like, don't shop at this company. Like all of their artwork is AI generated.
Mhm.
And like they're not doing anything wrong technically. Like they're selling these prints or these stickers or whatever, but they're
Mm.
asking the computer to come up with the designs for them.
Yeah.
Like you're not really doing anything wrong, but people see that as cheating in a really high degree.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, they're right. What they're doing is they are destroying the art industry by not allowing humans to create it and sell their work.
Yeah. I
Well,
heard. Oh, go ahead.
no, you go first.
Say I heard this quote or read it actually. Excuse me. A lady said like when AI first came out, it could just tell AI like make me a song or write me a
Yeah, yeah.
poem, do something like that. And her comment was like, I don't need AI to write me poems or songs. I need AI to do cooking and laundry so I have more time
Yep.
to write my
Yeah.
own poems and songs.
Yeah.
You know.
100%.
I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but I mostly use Chat GPT for like helping me write things.
Yeah.
I would never ask it like write me a paragraph about this. Like I will I should say the way that I use it is I write exactly what I want to say, and then I throw it into ChatGPT and I'm like, please clean this up for me and make
Yeah.
it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Make me sound smart
Yeah,
Right.
that's definitely a
because I'm
prompt.
a dummy.
Right.
Help me sound like English is my first
Yeah,
language.
yeah, yeah. Which it is.
I think it's my second.
Is it?
Hmm.
What's your first language?
Arabic.
Is it really?
Hmm.
I don't think I
Didn't
knew
know that.
that.
That's a fun fact.
Very
So
interesting.
circling back, so do you think AI could help me be more creative? So I don't do web design. I don't make
Mm,
logos. I may try to be creative.
Yes and no.
Yeah,
pr-
I'm curious of your
probably
perspective.
from like an actual design, like illustration. I don't know how. Uh, I mean, I can see from like a creative writing,
Even creative
but
drawing, like I've seen it online before where people are like, I asked ChatGPT to come up with, what is it, like 30 illustration prompts for me. And they're pretty good too. Like, you should draw somebody going on an adventure and they have a backpack on. All three of us probably just thought of a totally different thing. So that's using it creatively, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. Yes and no.
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking more like I've seen the benefit of it, as she mentioned before, like more in writing, right?
Okay.
And sounding intelligent, you know,
Yeah.
because designers probably aren't the best spellers naturally. I'm a terrible speller.
I can spell, but I never know where to put a comma.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Everything I write is long run-on
Oh
sentences.
my gosh, yes.
They're like, "You idiot, that's where a period goes." I don't know.
I know.
Don't disrupt my creativity.
Yeah, yeah.
Shut up, they know what I'm talking about. I have a monthly newsletter for my business, and I have Mark look over like the text before I send it out because he just writes way better than I do. Um,
Tells me a really funny story, but I'll wait for you to finish.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So 2 or 3 months ago, I was writing up the description for like the movie of the month and why it is picked as like the Good Noodle movie of the month. And as I was writing it, I was like, "This is amazing. I mean, people are really gonna get it." And I showed it to him, and he was like, "What are you saying?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can you just fix it?
You sound like an idiot.
I know. It's like I teared up at that sentence.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, well done.
I
Well
know.
done.
What's your story?
No, like, and part of the design, like I've made like wedding programs and stuff. Have you done like wedding programs and wedding designs?
Weddings are actually a lot of people say weddings are hard because of the brides and the mothers of the bride, but I think it's actually pretty easy.
No, yeah, I always did it. And I always had a great time with it.
They're
No, never
fun.
any complaints. But man, I totally screwed up. Uh, and
Like the wrong name.
oh no,
No.
no,
Okay.
not even wrong name. So like I made like because when you're working on a design, like you are so focused that you don't see like the glaring mistakes. So it's always proper to have
Hi,
somebody come over and
Rob.
reread.
Second pair of eyes.
Oh yeah, so like, dude, I made this beautiful
Hey.
design for this couple, and yeah, so made this beautiful couple, and it was like Tanya and Frank have been in love for ever, and it was just some sort of like little something on the front of it and a beautiful design, and I printed it out. These couples spent a lot of money on me and the design and the prints and blah blah blah, and I'm handing it to the client like a couple days before the wedding, and I look down and I spelled the word love wrong on the main.
How did you spell
Yeah,
it?
we gotta know how.
I had
how
I had an M. It was
Love?
loam. I
No.
loam you,
Uh,
and I was like, I looked at this.
that's what all the kids are saying.
I
Yeah.
thousand.
It's just
I looked at this 1,000 times, and I never saw that I spelled the word love wrong. And I'm like, this is what I'm the biggest idiot for not letting somebody else look at this beforehand.
was it just like
So
a swooping font, or I'm
no,
trying to give you some
it was, dude. It was
grace.
no. It was just I can't. It was like some sort of serif. I don't know. It
M
was
and V are close to each other on the keyboard. It
that's
happens.
I was like, I am the biggest idiot, and I was so embarrassed that I had an emergency. Like, luckily, it was a couple days before, because then I had uh like emergency print made for them and
Oh,
fixed
that's
it.
nice.
But I lost all my money.
Mm.
Like I spent like I was gonna make them repay for all the prints. Like I basically
You
probably
had to
lost.
eat that. And
I
then
ate it,
just,
but like,
yeah.
That's
but I
tough.
deserve to eat it because I'm an idiot. Like,
Good for you for being so honest.
could you imagine them passing that out?
People would make fun of them until they're dead.
I know what.
Or you started a
I'd be
new
like,
trend.
what?
I love you.
Yeah,
What?
I'm in Loam.
What
Yeah.
idiot made this? Well, that was me.
Good
That's
for
right.
you for being honest about it.
Oh yeah, it was so embarrassing. So
Oh.
ever since then, I've always had somebody rewrite. Like it's got to be like up
Nice.
there because you're gonna screw up.
2 things. 1, in my contract, I make it clear, like, I am not responsible for writing anything. You need to provide all the text.
Spelling at your own
Yeah,
risk.
any misspellings or whatever, that's on you. You're not paying me to write.
Oh
Number
yeah,
1.
yeah.
Number 2, we were making fonts one semester in our typography class, and somebody completely forgot the letter X. Like, it just happens. You're so focused on the shape and the consistency of
Mhm.
all the letters and everything, you forgot just like an entire letter.
Oh yeah, dude.
So no worries, it happens.
Yeah, except for a client that's on their wedding day, it's no big deal.
But you fixed it.
I did. Yeah.
That's what's-
Luckily, it could be fixed.
No. Were you up front and like they knew all this was going on, or they were completely like naive to or ignorant of the entire
yeah, how'd
thing?
that go down?
Well, I mean, they saw the designs too, and they didn't notice it.
So you handed it to them and you noticed how, like, walk us through the conversation.
that morning before I handed it in, I basically realized that I had told them that hey, there was a mistake.
Good for
on
you,
Oh,
this,
bro.
so okay.
that I can't turn this. I can't turn this
So
in.
she didn't go like full bridezilla or like the groom's just coming at you.
No, because it was a couple days beforehand. Like if it was that morning,
Yeah.
then you'd be like, I'm doomed.
Sorry.
Sorry,
I have a
I'm
paperless
an
wedding.
idiot.
That's
All right, I spent like 4 hours taking a Sharpie to each
Right.
line to fix it.
That's really funny.
But, yeah,
in the most
say
creative way
something.
possible.
obviously.
Yeah.
obviously. So
That's
Mhm.
what's so nice about graphic design. Like, even if you really royally mess up, no one's gonna die. Like, there's no graphic design emergencies.
well,
Like, the
maybe.
worst thing is you are a little bit embarrassed for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh no, I read the wrong blood type on this bag and now 3 people have died
Oh, that's a
because of
good-
my
that-
hands.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
You've had you. Why did I
No,
say
I
that?
haven't.
You have-
No, I
You've had
haven't.
the
For the
potential
record,
for
no,
that
no, no.
problem. Because you worked in medicine, didn't you?
Yes, yeah.
You've never
No,
killed
no issues.
anybody.
No,
I'm
no
sorry.
one. Nope. We're all
That lawsuit has passed.
Yeah.
We can
No.
talk.
statute of limitations.
Statute of
is-
limitations. Yeah, it's gone.
That's not what I meant. I meant like you've worked in a place where it is
someone-
life or death.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so I was
Okay.
gonna ask, going back to logos.
Yeah.
Have you ever snuck something into a logo? Either
Oh, Dude,
something
like a-
you thought was funny,
like
your
an Easter,
name,
like an Easter egg.
yeah.
I haven't. They're so
That you're
small. I
willing
feel
to
like it'd be
admit.
so
you
hard.
know what's funny? Like some of like the coolest logos in the world. Like you're like I'm creative, but then like you take a look at like the Pittsburgh Zoo. Have you seen the
don't
Pittsburgh
remember
Zoo
that.
logo?
Yeah.
No,
Where the negative space
Space.
is actually pictures of animals.
Right.
It's like
I don't have
Yeah.
or
Wi-Fi.
like the FedEx logo. FedEx logo
Yeah.
has the
Arrow.
arrow. I'm like I've tried to do that so many times. I'm like I think I'm creative. Like I ain't even close. Like the people that do that, like good for them. Like that takes a lot of time to get that negative, to kind of hit that with that negative space.
Totally.
But man, there are some clever logos. I've never had any Easter eggs in there. I'm not smart enough for it, probably.
That's how I am too. I can't hide anything in them.
You've never seen the Pittsburgh Zoo logo?
I have, but I can't remember
Yeah,
it
check
off the
it
top
out.
of my head.
It's got negative space, and it's like elephants and lions and all the tigers and
Wow.
with a negative space. It's really really cool.
Well,
That's
there's the
pretty neat.
challenge for you guys.
You throw some
Do-
Easter eggs
yeah,
in there.
Throw them in.
Yeah, man,
Do it.
I've tried.
What a butt.
But
I don't know.
oh man, no,
Yeah.
I've tried.
Well, what's your least favorite project you've ever done, if you have one?
My least favorite project. Probably print design.
Really?
And why?
I guess not. I guess I'm like I don't know, like letters or like newsletters, stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like the designs.
Is it more like rearranging than it is designing?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Or
don't
like
know.
layout?
I don't know what it is. I think it's more like layout. I think there's science behind like newspaper layouts and like
There
I never,
has to be.
and I've never got into that.
Hmm.
I feel like the creative part is not as pertinent because it's more print because you're more looking at the letters and the content. I never really got into like that newspaper. But you can tell like when you look at a magazine or like a newspaper that's laid out well,
Mhm.
you're like that person knew what they were doing.
For sure.
Like they're highlighting or this is large because this is here, like the sequence or like you can tell when it's done well. I just never got into that type of design.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I'm curious, like relative to creativity, you've given a lot of great examples
Yeah.
of ways that you've displayed that. But do you feel like creativity just kind of floats with you like throughout your life? So whether it's like arranging your living room or your landscaping outside, like what you do you feel like creativity is always just kind of churning, or you kind of keep that
Hmm.
right in like the web design and drawing, logos, that kind of stuff?
That is a really good question. I don't think so. I mean, I've always, ever since I was a kid, like I remember being like 6 years, and I still have them. I loved comic books,
Hmm.
newspaper comics. My parents still have it. Like I would draw all of the newspaper comics.
That's
What
So
was
I
your
awesome.
go-to?
Calvin Hobbes
Kevin
was
Hobbs?
legit.
All
Like
right.
that was my favorite. Not only was it designed well, like the whole thing is clever. Like they were extremely witty. It's the best comic of all time. And man, I remember I made a Calvin and Hobbes. So I won like a T-shirt design contest at my high school for the
Okay.
Spanish club,
Amazing.
and it was Calvin and Hobbes. I drew Calvin and Hobbes lost in Mexico. Like Calvin's like reading the map upside down, and he doesn't know where he's at, and they're yelling at each other. So, but like I've always been uh attracted to like line work and illustrations, the comics, stuff like that. Like I said, I still have all of my old comics that I did when I was 7 years old. Like, man, you sucked at 7 years old. But
Roast yourself.
yeah, roast myself. Like Charlie Brown looks terrible. Anyways, but like in regards to like other aspects of my life, I don't think so.
All right.
Like in regards to landscaping or taking care of my garage in a creative way, it's like, no way. There's no way you'd like walk into my house and be like, this person, they must be creative. Look at the way they
Organize their
look, yeah,
nails.
yeah. Look, yeah. Look where that couch is compared to that love seat. Man, they've
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Like no, that's all my wife. Like I think like in that interior design, like I don't got that.
I don't
I
either.
don't, I
Yeah.
don't have that, but it is interesting to see like the different minds because that is like interior design stuff. That's just as creative as if you're creating an illustration,
For sure.
but your mind's just a little bit different.
When Mark lived at his own little house in Struthers, he was like rearranging the furniture one day and his living room didn't have an overhead light, so he had to use like a big lamp. And he was like, I don't know where to put the lamp so that it'll light the whole room. And I was
Yeah.
like, duh, Mark, in the middle of the room. It'll light everything.
Where people walk.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm not really good
Here,
at
yeah.
interior
put
design.
this refrigerator here as well.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to get up
You
as
don't have to
often.
get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the toilet there as well.
Yeah. Oh my,
Everything within arm's reach. You
Yeah,
just-
that's
you
right.
have it, grab it.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. I think hopefully that's encouraging to listeners as well, that like there's different kind of compartments for creativity. It's not always across the board.
Totally.
Like
And
to
then
find your niche and like do something.
Yeah, and I would say like it's funny too. Like I feel like I know we spoke about AI, but like even if you like YouTube designs or like obviously there's some really good artists on YouTube and you can kind of get
Sure.
some inspiration from them. But like most of like the YouTube channels are like graphic design industry is failing. Pick another career. Web design is not what it used to be. Find a different career. The death of design because of AI. Like YouTube is extremely depressing,
Sure.
and like it can definitely. There are a lot of like
Negative
designers
things.
videos out there. Like they're like, why would I get in design? Like it's dying. I'm gonna go be a banker instead. And you're like, I just stifled. Like if those YouTube videos were there when I was young, it would have stifled my career. Like I would have been like, I guess I'm gonna be a banker and be miserable my entire. No offense to bankers,
Yes.
but
We appreciate you.
yeah, you're welcome. But like I'm gonna stifle my creativity and kind of not be happy. Like, dude, don't listen to that stuff, man.
yeah.
Like if right now, man, if you're like in high school and you got that creative bug, like find a career,
Go
like
for it.
find a career for like even if it's like not specific graphic design. I assume that's still like a hard industry to get into.
It's interesting because it's easier and harder than ever
Yeah.
because like you can right now find the CEO of Target or like whoever's in charge of like the art director at Target so easily and message them and be like, here's my entire
Oh, yeah.
portfolio. I'm really passionate.
Mm.
But on the other hand, every other graphic designer in the world can do the same thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's easy and hard. But I had that same thought in college because I thought like how is graphic design going to help the world? Like, I have one life and I'm wasting it drawing pictures for people. Are you kidding me? Like, maybe I should, I don't know, move to Calcutta and sell rice to the people in the streets. You know what I mean? Like, do something
Yeah,
useful with my
Calcutta's a big
time.
rice town.
I just mean like where Mother Teresa lived, like do something good. But my friend in college, he talked to me about it the one day. He was like, "Yeah, I guess you could think of it that way, but there's always going to be bad design
Yeah,
that needs to be fixed.
yeah.
And would you rather
Yep.
be doing that or like selling
You're selling
rice?"
rice in Calcutta,
Right.
right?
So
Yeah.
there's always
Yeah,
a
like
place for
they
you.
don't let they don't let like the media and like especially YouTube or where a
And the
lot of me
bullies.
yeah, don't let them like man, it's so depressing when you look 'cause even like
Yes.
webs, even like computer science, like computer science industry is dying. You won't survive. Don't get jobs there because AI is taking over. Like they're just there, like almost like fear mongering.
It
It can
is.
take,
Interesting.
it kind of take over.
So
On
it's interesting with YouTube, especially when my kids were younger. Art for Kids. I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that
yeah.
charity.
My kids
Like
could
this
do this stuff.
guy, illustrator, is that the right
Yeah,
term?
yeah, yeah,
But like mad skills. He's
yeah,
like, draw me something. He just goes,
yeah.
but he does it slowly, and like his son does alongside with
I
him.
love that.
And so like someone tells me, like my boys, like they love comic book characters.
Yeah.
Like draw me that, and I'm like,
Sorry,
I
What
got
do I look
nothing.
like?
But show me a picture, do it alongside of them.
I got it.
Got it. Not a
Hmm.
problem. I can copy anything, but being creative necessarily just off the top of my head, nothing. But it was fun to do that, kind of get them into the drawing, get
Oh
them
yeah,
into the coloring, the shading, and like doing all that.
they
So
seem like they're picking it up. They're pretty good.
yeah, they like it.
Do they?
Yeah,
That's great.
they've gotten more into sports, and so some of the drawings kind of gone down
Yeah,
to the
you can
side
do both.
lately.
That's what I did.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's
we
all
try to
good.
keep it
For
in balance,
sure.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. 100%.
What
But
about you? Do you like to draw for fun?
I
Ah,
yeah, I used to when I was younger, like doing that stuff
Yeah,
with them. Like I got into it because I'm like, all right, that's a cool picture. Like I can draw it
yeah,
and it'll look great. And then like they'll color it or we'll color it together. Like
that's fun.
I think it's more finding the free time to do that and just making
yeah,
sure that you keep those creativity juices kind of flowing and not being stifled by the rest of life.
yeah, yeah. 100%.
Hmm.
That's what's cool about being in a job. We're in a job where you are creative the whole time. Is like those juices are always flowing.
Yeah,
Nice.
Like
like they
they're
better be.
yeah,
They pay the
Yeah.
bills.
they pay the
Yeah.
bills.
Yeah.
That's funny. I always think about drawing pictures. You know what artists really amaze me is like if someone's like, "Hey, Rob, go draw a horse." Like if I don't have a picture of a horse to look at, I'm gonna draw a stick figure horse. But like, those
Horses elude
artists
us.
who can like
Yeah. They just picture it in their
they
mind.
know in their mind they can kind of see it as they draw the horse. Like that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't have that brain. I don't know if you have that brain. Could you do that? Because like, could you say
Not well.
not well?
You could tell it's a horse, but you
Yeah.
have to squint and do like this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it could be a horse.
Yeah, from 20 feet away, it looks like a horse.
Yeah, if you
There
take
we
your
go.
glasses
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, man. Like
Oh,
some of those artists are just amazing. Like that's what you kind of see on YouTube is those people just off the top of their head
yeah.
designing stuff.
That's how
It's
this.
like, oh man, I don't know.
I think it also depends on the style. Like, I'm sure you could draw a horse from your memory
Yeah,
if it wasn't hyper realistic.
yeah, yeah. That's true.
Like, yeah.
Like an abstract horse.
Yeah.
Right. Like a horse in the Rob style.
Yeah, yeah. It's got 4 legs and
Yeah.
maybe a mane.
A snout.
Wow.
And it's got a snout.
Now I wish I brought like a sketchbook or something and just put you guys on the spot and tell you
Oh,
to
that'd
go.
be fun.
Or it would been funny to like look at our like our old. I assume you have like stuff when you were a kid.
Mhm.
That'd be cool to like bring out our old stuff and just
Oh,
we could just
yeah.
mock it and make fun of it.
That'd be terrible.
You think that's Calvin and Hobbes?
Yeah, who is
My
that?
goodness gracious.
That's funny.
Yeah, the only thing I would say at the end, with the millions of viewers that we have, would be like if you are creative, and that was what I was going with like YouTube. If you are creative, like don't let like media and social media tell you that like designing and creativity is dead because of AI.
For sure.
Like, man, find a career. There are like you don't always have to be a graphic designer, right? You don't always have to do what Michelle does. Like, you could do what I do, where like you're still designing, but it's another aspect, another road that you can go on. Where it's web design, it's software development. There's all types of different creativity careers out there
Mhm.
that aren't specific to graphic design that you can still use the skills. Even if you love to draw and illustrate, there are way more careers out there. Like, don't get stifled by saying the industry is dead because it's not. It won't, right? This is probably like
For sure.
this is like a trend, and then 10 years from now, I'd be like, can you believe we thought so and so industry was going to be gone? nah, it's not the case.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So that's one thing I would say.
The other thing too is you don't have to have a creative career and you don't have to make money. Like it definitely helps with loving your job, but you don't have to be absolutely in love with what you do. Like
Hmm.
a professor of mine once told us like you can either have a really great and fun and creative job and then at home you just like live your life, do your little hobbies, or you can have a job where you don't really get to be as creative as you want to. You kind of just put in the hours, but then at home you have all the time and the juices to be as creative as you want to be. Yeah, I don't know. It's not the end of the world if you don't get your dream job at like a graphic design
Yeah,
firm.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can be as creative as you want to be wherever you end up, I
Yeah,
guess.
and I would
Absolutely.
say also like keep up like your portfolio.
That's more important than having a degree. Like it
Oh yeah,
certainly helps to have a degree because
yeah.
it proves you can
You can do
consistently
it.
finish something, but your portfolio is way more important than anything else, I think,
Yeah, I mean,
and your
you could
attitude.
even say that. You can even say that from like computer science, from a coding standpoint. Like
Yeah,
most industries or most companies will maybe like obviously a degree is going to get you in the door,
totally.
but most companies I've heard of were like, if this person has an awesome portfolio, they've coded like amazing software, they've done like I want that person. I don't
Yeah,
want the person who has a master's degree that has no portfolio that thinks they like I want show me that you know what you're doing.
totally.
Show me your product, right?
The other thing too is you want to people generally want to work with people that they enjoy spending time with.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
don't go into it like a big turd.
Yeah,
That
typically, yeah.
helps.
General good life advice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
typically, if
guess
I ever
so.
go for a job interview, usually that's on my numero uno, like, "Don't be a turd when you sit here."
Don't talk about turds
Yeah, don't talk about BMs and
during
turds
your
Yeah.
interview.
during the interviews.
I'm sure there's a logo and some kind
Well,
of
yeah, I don't
something
want
you
you
could draw for
I
that.
That's
don't want
right.
I don't know if you want that logo.
No, you do.
Well, think
Okay.
about the poop emoji.
That's
Yeah, dude,
true.
Someone had to draw that one.
Hmm.
that is a strange one,
Yeah.
man.
It's always
It's funny,
smiling.
you always think too, like, those famous logos of, like, what was that famous one, like, the yellow smiley face? Like, the famous one from, like, the '70s, it was, like, a
Oh, like
yellow
the Walmart one?
yeah, yeah, like, that's, like, the most simplest logo, it made that guy probably made millions of dollars off that design. I think what they have that even from Forrest Gump, I don't know if you've ever seen Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
they talk about that logo being, like obviously, it was fiction. They talked about that logo being created in Forrest Gump, how it just, a simple logo can take off or a simple design can take off. It was really
Sure.
interesting. So,
I've only seen bits and pieces. I shouldn't have nodded as excitedly as I did.
for Forrest Gump is in bits and pieces,
Hmm.
that's a travesty.
The thing I remember most, spoiler alert for if you haven't seen Forrest Gump, every time a lady lays in that one bed, they die. So anytime one of them like took a nap there, I'd be like, "It's over for you,
Oh,
Jenny.
you mean
Yes.
at the
You're
Of course, of
farmhouse?
broken."
course, yes.
Oh, the
Yeah, I think
mother,
so.
Jenny and the mother?
Jenny, the mom. There was another lady.
No, there wasn't another lady, was there?
Maybe I imagined another lady, but
Hmm.
every time somebody laid in that bed, I was like, "It's game over for you. You're freaking toast."
Now we're turning into the rewatchables. We
Yeah.
should shift this in an entirely different direction.
We can. I can go
Yeah.
anywhere.
Rob, thank you so much for coming on to this
Hmm.
podcast, sharing about your creativity and just the ways that you get to use it. And it was a fun discussion.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Thank you guys
Yeah.
very much. I appreciate it.
Nice.
Thanks.